joined by His Excellency Vice Premier of the State Council of China, Ding Xuexiang, His Excellency Prime Minister of the Lao PDR, Songtse Siphandong, Honorable Chief Advisor of the Government of Bangladesh, Muhammad Yunus, His Excellency Vice President of the Federated States of Micronesia, Palik, His Excellency First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economy and Development of Mongolia, Gantumor, His Excellency First Deputy Prime Minister of Kazakhstan, Roman Skyler, His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister of Russia, Ovalchuk, His Excellency Coordinator Minister for Infrastructure and Regional Development for Indonesia, August Yudhoyono, His Excellency Vice Chairperson of the 14th CPPCC National Committee of China, O Awa. On behalf of the BFA, I wish to extend heartfelt thanks to all the leaders and distinguished guests for coming. Since its inception, the BFA has been committed to promoting regional economic integration, cooperation among all parties, and common development. The world is undergoing profound changes with multiplying challenges. At the same time, Asia's economic development has shown strong resilience, huge potential, and broad prospects. At this annual conference, we look forward to in-depth discussions on major issues facing the world and the Asia-Pacific, so as to set the direction, build consensus, promote cooperation, and create a better future for Asia in a changing world. 现在
His Excellency Mr. Ban Ki-moon, Chairman of the Boao Forum for Asia and the 8th Secretary General of the United Nations, to deliver welcome remarks. Your Excellency, please.
His Excellency Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang of People's Republic of China, distinguished leaders from Lao PDR, Bangladesh, Micronesia, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Russian Federation, and Indonesia. On behalf of the Boao Forum for Asia, I have the pleasure and honor of welcoming all of you to the annual conference 2025 of the Boao Forum for Asia, a critical occasion for Asian and world leaders to think, debate, and act for the bright and sustainable future shared by all the regions, countries, communities, and groups. Will our future be better? That is a question we must answer. As our world goes through profound and transformational changes in an era of increasing uncertainties and complexities in face of rising unilateralism and protectionism, amid growing worries, concerns, and anxieties, people are waiting for our and your answers. So we come together here in Boao with more than 2,000 political, business, intellectual, and opinion leaders, 4 days of intensive, forward-looking, and thought-provoking brainstorming, and hundreds of public sessions and private meetings for one sole purpose: to deliver a better present and safeguard the future. 6 months ago, world leaders were gathered in New York for the same purpose, the United Nations Summit of the Future. It was a historic moment to reaffirm and recommit to existing commitments and agreements, and to take concrete steps to respond to emerging challenges and opportunities. Countries reached a new international consensus on rebuilding trust, rekindling cooperation, and revitalizing multilateralism. These are hard-won and badly needed consensus and action plans that must be followed. If we can deliver and execute to the letter, our shared future will undoubtedly be a better one. 2025 is the first year to deliver. We must make a good start and keep the momentum going. As a follow-up of the Summit of the Future, our annual conference of Boao Forum should take up the responsibility and take the lead in not just what we say, but more importantly, what we do, what we act. I have faith in our annual conference, our forums, and the wider Boao Forum to deliver. Behind and with us are 29 initial countries and the broader Asia, the most dynamic region in economic progress and a firm voice for multilateralism, free trade, and globalization, an emerging technology pioneer, a front-runner in poverty alleviation and green growth and the digital economy, and an inspiring example of what we can do together through closer regional cooperation and deeper integration. The Asian miracle, to a large extent, is a miracle of globalization, free trade, and open regionalism. The peaceful environment that makes the Asian miracle possible is secured and safeguarded a just and equitable international order and the multilateral system with the United Nations at the core. I have confidence in our gracious host country, China, to deliver the issues, and China is a constant advocate for multilateral approach to global challenges we face. I appreciate His Excellency President Xi Jinping's vision of a community with a shared future for mankind and was impressed by his global initiative on development, security, and civilization. I was the Secretary General at the time to witness and hear what President Xi Jinping was delivering Chinese government and people's long-standing views. China's resolve and policies to deepen reform and open wider to the outside world have boosted confidence in inclusive globalization and an open world economy, inject new impetus into strong and balanced global recovery, and opened up new opportunities for international cooperation. What works for China and Asia tells a lot about the right way forward and the right path leading to common development. People in this grand hall share in our belief in the power of a multilateral approach to our common challenges. No matter how profound and transformational changes are, one thing remains unchanged. That is, our world is so interdependent and interconnected. Today, we have no other alternative but to come together, keep together, and work together. However powerful a nation or maybe, there is nothing which one can do it alone. China cannot do it alone. United States, Europeans, they cannot deliver. Therefore, we must join all our hands on the deck together. That's the lesson which I have learned from my 10-year service as the Secretary General of the United Nations. Excellencies, the leaders, let us work together to realize a better future and succeed so that our succeeding generation can live in peace and harmony and better and sustainable way. That's leaders your responsibility. For me, I'm no longer a leader. I have a moral responsibility. When moral and political responsibility are joined together, there is nothing which we cannot do it.
Thank
you, Excellency Chairman Ban Ki-moon. Now, I have the honor to invite His Excellency Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang of the State Council to deliver his remarks.
Your Excellency, state and government leaders, Your Excellencies, heads of international organizations, Your Excellencies, members of the Board of Directors of the Boao Forum for Asia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends. It gives me great pleasure to meet you on the beautiful island of Hainan for the Boao Forum for Asia Annual Conference 2025. On behalf of the Chinese government, I wish to extend warm congratulations on the opening of the annual conference and a sincere welcome to all the distinguished guests. Let me also express heartfelt appreciation for all of you for your long-standing care and support for China's development. This year marks the 10th year since President Xi Jinping called for building an Asian community with a shared future. 10 years ago, right here in Boao, President Xi delivered a keynote speech titled Toward a Community with a Shared Future and a New Future for Asia. I was in the audience and had the honor to listen to his remarks, and still have fresh memories of his key conclusion that only when the world prospers can Asia prosper, and only when Asia prospers can the world prosper. And also the important principles he outlined on how Asia could move toward a community with a shared future. Afterwards, when visiting other Asian countries and speaking at major events such as the Conference on Dialogue of Asian Civilizations, President Xi built on that and elaborated on the Asian security concept, Asian values, and Asian modernization. These ideas continue to add new substance to the vision of building an Asian community with a shared future, and they also represent China's proposals for promoting cooperation and development in Asia. Over the past decade, thanks to our collective efforts, significant progress has been made in building an Asian community with a shared future. China and ASEAN have established a comprehensive strategic partnership. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, has entered into effect. Regional economic integration is progressing with solid steps. The connectivity networks among Asian countries are improving, boosted by the implementation of landmark Belt and Road projects such as the China-Laos Railway, the Jakarta-Bandung Railway, and the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, has been launched and is making more impact through providing active financing support for relevant projects. Asia's share in the global economy is rising steadily. While pursuing its own development, Asia is also making significant contributions to the development of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, even as we speak, changes of the world of our times and of historic significance are unfolding in unprecedented ways. Our world is experiencing far greater instability and uncertainty. It's essential that we work in concert to promote the building of a community with a shared future for mankind. Meet global challenges, build a shared Asian home, and usher in a brighter future for Asia and the world. To that end, I would like to make 4 proposals. First, strengthening solidarity and cooperation through greater mutual trust. A high degree of mutual trust is a must for building an Asian community with a shared future. We should champion the Asian values built around peace, cooperation, inclusiveness, and integration. Uphold and carry forward the Asian way of mutual respect, consensus building, and accommodating the comfort levels of all parties. Respect each other's core interests and major concerns. Keep building common ground and mutual trust, and jointly create a big Asian family of solidarity and progress. We should resolutely defend the true multilateralism, safeguard the UN-centered international system and the international order underpinned by international law, and make global governance more just and equitable. Second, promoting economic globalization through openness and integration. Openness, cooperation, and economic globalization are essential for building an Asian community with a shared future. After decades of development, Asia has become the world's most dynamic region with the greatest growth potential. This is due in no small part to the choice we have made to open our doors and integrate into the world. We should jointly safeguard the free trade system, uphold open regionalism, and firmly oppose trade and investment protectionism. We should make full use of regional cooperation mechanisms in East Asia and the Asia-Pacific, push for high-quality implementation of the RCEP, work toward signing of China-ASEAN Free Trade Area 3.0 Upgrade Protocol, and promote regional economic integration and connectivity. In this way, we will contribute to an open world economy through Asia's openness and integration, and make economic globalization more mutually beneficial and inclusive. Third, promoting prosperity and development through mutual benefit and win-win cooperation. Achieving common development is the goal of building an Asian community with a shared future. We should pursue a development-first policy, deliver on the Global Development Initiative, actively improve people's livelihood, and strive to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Building on the rapid progress of the ongoing technological revolution and industrial transformation, Asia is moving steadily to the forefront of the world in artificial intelligence, big data, and new energy. We should strengthen cooperation on science, technology, and innovation, and promote the sharing of technological achievements to better support the development of all countries. We should make good use of financing platforms like the AIIB and the Silk Road Fund to provide more support for sustainable development in Asia and around the world. Fourth, safeguarding tranquility and stability through peaceful coexistence. Peace and stability is part and parcel of building an Asian community with a shared future. At present, Asia remains peaceful and stable on the whole. Its stabilizing role in the global landscape must be dearly cherished. We should pursue the vision of common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security in Asia, act as builders and guardians of regional peace, and make sure that Asia continues to be a land of peace and stability. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's War resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War, the 80th anniversary of the founding of the UN, and the 70th anniversary of the Bandung Conference. We should work together to uphold the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, promote a correct understanding of World War II history, and carry forward the Bandung spirit. This entails resolving differences and disputes through dialogue and consultation, and fostering an environment of security for all. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, this year will wrap up the implementation of China's 14th five-year plan. At the recently concluded MPC and CPPCC sessions, our lawmakers set out plans for this year's economic and social development. I understand many of you might be interested in where China's economy is heading and look to China to provide more certainty to the global economy. Let me use this opportunity to make 3 observations. First, the Chinese economy is growing steadily with a stronger outlook. Despite a surge of difficulties and challenges last year, our economy grew at a rate of 5%. China ranks among the world's fastest growing major economies and accounts for about 30% of global growth. In January and February this year, our economy got off to a steady start. The key indicators of industry, consumption, and investment all grew faster than 2024, continuing the upward momentum shown in the 4th quarter last year. The growth target for this year is set at around 5%. This is based on rigorous projections and methodical planning, underpinned by China's growth potential and favorable conditions, and supported by robust policy measures. We will enforce more proactive and effective macro policies, stimulate domestic demand across the board, actively stabilize foreign trade and investment, double down on the healthy development of the property sector and the stock market, effectively prevent and diffuse risks in key areas, and do our best to fulfill this year's goals and tasks for economic and social development. China is confident of realizing these goals and will further contribute to development in Asia and the world. Second, the Chinese economy is remaking itself with a growing capacity to drive growth through innovation. China's firm commitment to an innovation-driven development strategy has led to a notable boost in our innovation capacity and a successful transition from old to new growth drivers. This has not only helped us tide over economic difficulties, but also lifted our medium to long-term growth prospects and potential. You may have seen Chinese tech companies unveil their latest humanoid robots and large AI models, boosting momentum in their own sector and confidence in the market. They are success stories achieved through a persistent effort to develop new driver of growth in the Chinese economy. We will move faster toward greater self-reliance and strength in sophisticated science and technology, facilitate the integrated development of technological and industrial innovation, and foster and expand emerging and future industries, even as we transform and upgrade the traditional industries. Today, the pursuit of high-quality development has become a nationwide consensus, and the drive to develop new quality productive forces and spur innovation has become a widespread trend. In my view, apart from new energy vehicles registering rapid development, other sectors such as AI, biomanufacturing, quantum technology, and low-altitude economy will also thrive across China. There are not only opportunities for China, but also opportunities for Asia and the world. Third, China is deepening reform and opening up across the board to deliver a more pro-business environment. The 3rd plenary session of the 28th CPC Central Committee laid out a master plan for further deepening reform comprehensively to advance Chinese modernization. We will accelerate the implementation of landmark reform measures, better leverage the leading role of economic structural reform, and reform and refine institutions and mechanisms to better support high-quality development. The private sector is a dynamic force in advancing Chinese modernization. Its rapid growth in recent years testifies to the strong dynamism of the Chinese economy. At a recent meeting on developing the private sector, President Xi Jinping made important remarks that resonated strongly with the audience and beyond. The process of enacting a private economy promotion law is being fast-tracked, and the law is expected to provide a better legal environment for the development of the private sector. Opening up is a distinct hallmark of Chinese modernization. No matter how the external environment changes, China will open wider to the world. We will steadily expand institutional opening up, further improve market access for foreign investors, and expand trials to open sectors such as telecommunications, medical services, and education. We aim to offer a first-rate business environment that is market-oriented, law-based, and internationalized, and will carefully study and address issues raised by foreign invested companies relating to access to production factors, license application, standard setting, and government procurement. We will expand voluntary and unilateral opening up in a well-ordered way, and further increase the breadth and depth of China's opening up. We warmly welcome business from all countries to invest and operate in China, joining the process of Chinese modernization and sharing China's development opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, the Boao Forum for Asia is a key international platform for open and inclusive exchanges and mutual learning. I encourage you to share your insights, build extensive consensus, and contribute more wisdom and strength to a better future for Asia in a world of profound transformation. In closing, I wish this year's Boao Forum for Asia annual conference a full success. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Premier Ding, for his important remarks. His important remarks is important for regional cooperation and building an Asian community with a shared future. I believe that his introduction of China's economy will provide you with more information and make you more familiar with China's economy and be more confident of China's future development.
Xi Pengdong, Prime Minister of the Lao People's Democratic Republic, to deliver a speech. Yes? Yes.
ขอเรียนท่านประธาน
Your Excellency Ding Xuexiang, Vice Premier of the State Council of China, Excellencies, Heads of States and Governments, Your Excellency Chairman, Secretary General Zhang Jun, Your Excellency Chairman Ban Ki-moon, Your Excellencies, representatives from international organizations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Zhang Jun for inviting me to be here at this annual conference, and it is my honor to have the opportunity to address the opening plenary. Under the theme, Asia in the Changing World Towards a Shared Future, this annual conference is extremely relevant to the current world situation. The BFA is an important platform for dialogue. It brings together leaders, policymakers, researchers, experts, business people, and representatives from international organizations, educational institutions, and media agencies to exchange views on promoting cooperation for regional and international peace and development, and to jointly figure out ways to solve common issues and challenges. For over 20 years since its inception of the BFA, the Lao PDR has been one of the countries that has actively supported and participated in the forum. Ladies and gentlemen, currently the world is facing numerous challenges and threats, particularly political tension and the changing geopolitical landscape, which has affected not only the countries involved, but also the wider international community. Decoupling from multilateralism to protectionism and unilateralism not only runs against the global trends, but also hinders regional and international cooperation, creates obstacles for development for many countries in the world. Against this backdrop, the international community must adopt and be prepared to respond to further enhance cooperation. Asia is a dynamic continent and has been working to promote cooperation in trade, investment, tourism, and technological innovation and development. It has become a driving force in the global economy and has allowed Asia to be a center of production and trade, playing a critical role in maintaining and promoting peace, stability, and security in the region and the world at large. In this spirit, we must continue to strengthen regional and global connectivity through infrastructure development, policy coordination, and people-to-people bond to promote mutual understanding and building trust. In this process, China has made successful experiences and practices, plays a leading role in promoting cooperation not only in Asia but also in the world. The Lao PDR appreciates and highly values the Belt and Road Initiative proposed by President Xi Jinping in 2013. It is a mechanism of multilateral cooperation that truly benefits all parties, expanding the global economic development opportunities and prioritize the welfare of people in the world. Over the past decade, the BRI has connected China with Asia, Africa, and Europe, promoted common development among regions and global development. The BRI also plays a critical role in promoting international connectivity, boosting global economic growth, and building a sustainable platform for cooperation. It paves the way to prosperity for all countries and is a practice for building a community with a shared future for mankind. The BRI has become a foundation for regional cooperation. It can be well synergized with regional cooperation mechanisms such as the Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity 2025, as well as the strategy to transform the Lao PDR from a landlocked country to a land-linked hub. The Lao PDR is proud to be part of the BRI. The China-Laos Railway Project was officially launched in 2021. It is a model project of the BRI and a flagship project to deepen the China-Laos community with a shared future. It has made a significant contribution to social and economic development of the Lao PDR and raised the living standards of people. It has brought tangible benefits to the two countries and the region and made meaningful contributions to regional integration strategies of the Lao PDR, and China. This project helps the Lao PDR transform its status from a landlocked country into a connectivity country. The Laos-China Railway Project is a key section of Kunming-Singapore Railway Network, which helps strengthen regional connectivity and contribute to the implementation of the ASEAN Connectivity Master Plan 2025 and the building of the ASEAN community. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in the complex and unpredictable regional and global environment, we believe the initiatives proposed by President Xi Jinping, namely the Global Development Initiative, the Global Security Initiative, and the Global Civilization Initiative, is essential and relevant and of great significance. The Lao PDR has consistently supported and participated in these initiatives because they aim to promote international cooperation in all aspects for peace, security, and prosperity. In this end, the Lao PDR and China has recently signed an MOU on promoting cooperation under the Global Security Initiative. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in the era of globalization, the world is a global village. The global challenges faced by humanity needs all countries to carry out sincere and broad cooperation. No country can cope with global challenges alone. Therefore, it requires broad and genuine cooperation and consultation from all parties to make a new type of international relations featuring mutual benefits, and to jointly make the world peaceful, stable, secure, civilized, modern, and beautiful, to help building a community with a shared future for mankind. We believe that international cooperation is vital to addressing global challenges, and the Lao PDR is committed to working closely with all friendly countries and partners to build a more sustainable and prosperous future for all. To conclude, I wish the 2025 annual conference of the BFA a complete success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. Thank you for sharing with us the efforts made by the Laos in promoting your national development and also the achievements you have made, and also by sharing with us your thoughts in promoting regional cooperation and in coping with global challenges. Thank you again. Now let's welcome His Excellency Muhammad Yunus, Honorable Chief Advisor of the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, to deliver a statement. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
His Excellency Mr. Ding Xuexiang, Executive Vice Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China, His Excellency Mr. Ban Ki-moon, former Secretary General of the United Nations and Chairman of the Boao Forum for Asia, His Excellency Mr. Zhang Zhong, Secretary General of Boao Forum for Asia, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to share my thoughts at this forum on the timely theme of Asia in the changing world towards a shared future. This forum takes place at a critical juncture. Global governance under multilateralism is being questioned. Geopolitical tensions are rising. Climate change is escalating. Debt burdens are unsustainable. Humanitarian crises are growing. Political will for development cooperation is weakening. The world is facing an alarming shortfall in collective action. In the past, I attended this forum to share insights on microcredit. Today, I stand before you in a different capacity, representing a Bangladesh that underwent a historical transformation in July-August last year. The world witnessed a people united against oppression and corruption. Our youth and citizens demonstrated exceptional resolve and strength to redefine the future of Bangladesh. To restore public trust, we have initiated critical reforms. Independent commissions have been launched to reform the electoral system, judiciary, civil administration, law enforcement. These reforms, when implemented, will bring about fundamental transformation for our nation. Excellencies, as we build a new Bangladesh, we face multiple challenges which are shared by other Asian countries. In particular, global financial market instability, political uncertainties, diplomatic tensions, and trade disruptions create volatility. Rising interest rates and debt servicing costs are deepening Asia's debt crisis. Despite global commitments to the 2030 agenda, progress is slow. Only 24% of SDG targets have been met. Developing Asian countries face an SDG financial gap of 2.5% to $4 trillion annually. Beyond SDG financing, Asia also needs large-scale investments in infrastructure and economic diversification through responsible financing. Food security is under increasing pressure. Rising prices of essential commodities are straining household budgets, especially for low-income families. Climate change and natural disasters are exacerbating this crisis. The strengthening food supply chain is essential. Energy security is critical, especially for net importing developing countries. Energy supply disruptions drive inflation, economic instability, and debt distress. We must find sustainable energy solutions and scale up investments in renewables. Investing in health and education is critical and crucial for human capital development. A well-educated, skilled workforce drives economic growth and innovation. Countries that invest in universal healthcare see better economic productivity. Digital education, vocational training must be expanded to equip our youth for the jobs of the future. Distinguished audience, our civilization is at risk as we continue to embrace self-destructive economic values. The dominant economic model thrives on limitless consumption. It justifies over-extraction of resources and environmental degradation in the name of growth. We must shift towards sustainable economic models that prioritize people and the planet over the profit. The climate crisis poses an existential threat to humanity. In Asia-Pacific region, climate disaster-related economic losses are already enormous, which is equivalent to $65 billion. Climate-vulnerable countries like Bangladesh are forced to divert resources towards disaster response, limiting investments in productive sectors. We need new, additional, accessible, non-ODA, non-debt-creating, grant-based climate finance with an equitable distribution between adaptation and mitigation. Universal access to life-saving medicines and technologies must be guaranteed. The COVID-19 pandemic was a wake-up call, highlighting deep inequalities in global health system. Asia should take a united stand in ongoing negotiation of the pandemic treaty. Rapid strides in the data-driven technology, robotics, quantum computing, artificial intelligence are shaping the world. Lower capacity and resource mobilization in Asia compared to advanced economies could further widen digital divide. Data sovereignty and security remains critical concerns. If technology evolves irresponsibly, it could pose existential risk. Asia must close the digital divide and build regional capacity in technology, innovation, and incubation. Ladies and gentlemen, Asian cultural diversity, with its rich tapestry of languages, traditions, philosophies, customs, is a testament to the resilience and creativity of human civilization. The philosophies of Islam, Confucianism, Buddhism, Hinduism, among others, have shaped the global thought, offering unique perspectives on morality, governance, and human spirit. Asia's civilizations have flourished by embracing diversity. Over the centuries, the vibrant exchanges of cultural diversity has not only impacted on the region, but global influence. The melding of tradition and modernity, the respect for ancestral wisdom, alongside cutting-edge innovation, creates a dynamic energy that propels the region forward while honoring the deep historical roots. Asia's demographic dividend presents immense potential. A growing workforce, particularly young people, can drive innovations and productivity. We must provide them access to finance for entrepreneurship and sustainable solutions. Investing in human capital and in education system aligned with the evolving global job market will shape Asia's future competitiveness. Women's labor force participation in Asia remains low. Gender gaps persist in leadership and decision-making. We must remove barriers to women economic empowerment and ensure equal access to opportunities. In today's polycrisis world, wars and conflicts erode rights and disrupt economics. The genocide in Gaza continues despite global condemnation. The crisis in Palestine is not just an Arab or a Muslim concern, it is a humanitarian issue. The continued tension in Ukraine is heavily tolling on our global supply chain. The protracted crisis in Myanmar threatens regional stability. For more than 7 years, Bangladesh has been hosting over 1.2 million forcibly displaced Rohingyas who are Myanmar nationals. We continue to bear significant social, economic, and environmental costs. The UN Secretary General recently visited the camps in solidarity. While global efforts are drastically shrinking but continuing, Asian leaders must come together to ensure their safe and dignified repatriation to their home country, Myanmar. Distinguished audience, in this changing world, the destinies of Asian countries are intertwined. We must chart a clear roadmap for a shared future and a shared prosperity. First, financial cooperation. Asia must create a sustainable financial mechanism. Regional MDBs and similar institutions should lead this effort. We need reliable funds that address our challenges and meet our growing demands. Second, trade cooperation. Asia remains one of the least integrated regions. This weak integration stifles investment and trade. We must work to boost trade cooperation immediately. Third, food and agricultural cooperation. We must promote resource-efficient farming. Domestic production must be enhanced for food security. We need to reduce import reliance and achieve self-sufficiency. Expanding tech-based sustainable agricultural solutions and innovations in regenerative and climate-smart farming is key. Finally, mobilizing intellectual resources and youth power must be at the center of our collective actions. We must lay the foundation for a new civilization, a self-preserving and self-reinforcing society. We must create a world of 3 zeros: zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration, and zero unemployment. Our economy should focus on social business, which is increasingly regarded as to chart the future of business, where innovation, purpose, and responsibility converge. Boao Forum and other similar initiatives in Asia should enhance collaboration of youth and entrepreneurs, and particularly youth entrepreneurs, to make Asia a better place for our generations to come. As I mentioned, always, every young person should grow up as a 3-0 person with zero net carbon emissions, zero wealth concentration, and zero unemployment through entrepreneurship and social business. This is the shared future we in Asia must create together. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chief Advisor. Your remarks are very much thought-provoking, as always. I also highly appreciate the efforts you made in promoting the development of Bangladesh and your cooperation with the whole region. Now let's welcome Mr. Abdul Rahman Al-Faji, CEO and executive member of the board of SABIC, to deliver
Your Excellency, Mr. Ding Xuexiang, Vice Premier of China, honorable state leaders and ministers, Your Excellency Ban Ki-moon, the Chairman of Boao Forum for Asia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Zhao Chang Hao. I'm truly honored to speak here once again on behalf of the global business community. Global business community, particularly those in manufacturing, are no stranger to change. Consumer markets, operating costs, government regulations, they are in a constant state of change. But we embrace change over the long term because it brings potential business opportunities for economic growth. So, this year, conference theme, Asia in the Changing World, towards a shared future, resonates deeply within the chemical industry. In fact, I believe that the chemical industry is ideally positioned to turn change into a driver for sustainable economic growth. After all, its value chain connects primary energy sources and raw materials to the end products that define modern society. SABIC, the global chemical company I lead, believes that sustainable economic growth depends on two critical elements. First, innovation. Second, collaboration. Innovation drives change in the technological foundations of the economy. It leads to increased productivity, decreases in cost, and reductions in the greenhouse emissions. But the tremendous power of innovation, including breakthroughs, can only be harnessed if new technology is implemented on an industrial scale. And to scale up the innovation solution with lasting impact, we need to elevate our collaboration to unprecedented levels. Multiple industrial sectors and multiple geopolitical regions need to establish connections through which know-how, goods, and capital, both, can freely flow. A shining example of such enlightened collaboration is provided by the Saudi Arabian's Vision 2030 and the China Belt and Road initiatives. Together, these initiatives are opening doors for the foreign investments and technological exchange that drives economic development. And speaking of economic development, there are few countries that can match China's. Over the last several years, China has accounted for more than 30% of the global GDP. This powerful economic dynamism explains SABIC's success in the China market for more than 40 years. To this day, our commitment in China continues to deepen and deepen further. In partnership with the Fujian Energy Petrochemical Group, we are building 44.8 billion yuan petrochemical complex, which is expected to start up in the second half of next year, and our fourth advanced compounding plant in the planning phase 2 in the Gulei Park in Fujian. Of course, each company's journey is unique, but those like SABIC who embraces innovation and strengthen collaborations can transform challenges for the changing world into opportunities of sustainable economic growth. Thank you. 谢谢。
Thank you very much, Mr. Al-Fati, for your inspiring remarks. 我们已经聆听了
Now we have listened to all the speeches at the opening plenary. Let's give them a warm round of applause to thank their wonderful speeches to state leaders, Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang, and business representatives. Also taking this opportunity, I want to thank all the leaders and the distinguished guests for their speeches and participation in dialogues at sub-forums and relevant dialogues. Also taking this opportunity, I want to thank all the state leaders, the Chinese government, all the distinguished guests for your strong support of Boao Forum for Asia. Thank you all. This concludes the opening plenary.
务室的各位贵宾，请您将同传设备留在座位上或归还给工作人员，并跟随指引有序离开会场。Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for attending the open